Seven principles quiz. Number 1, people elect their political representatives. This is an example of which of the following principles? People elect representatives. A, republicanism. B, checks and balances. Not C. D, popular sovereignty. Number 2, Constitution limits the actions of government by specifically listing the powers it does and does not have. This is an example of which of the following principles? A, limited government. B, popular sovereignty. C, separation of powers. D, checks and balances. Number 3, power is divided between the national and state governments. This is an example of which of the following principles? A, individual rights. B, federalism. Not C. D, separation of powers. Power divided between national and state governments. Number 4, each of the branches of government has its own responsibilities. Each branch has its own job. This is an example of which of the following principles? A, federalism. B, republicanism. C, separation of powers. Not D. Number 5, each branch of government holds some control over the other branches of government. They have some control over each other. This is an example of which one? A, checks and balances. B, limited government. C, republicanism. D, separation of powers. Each of the three branches has some control. Number 6, freedoms and liberties of all citizens are guaranteed in the Bill of Rights. Bill of Rights. This is an example of which of the following principles? A, separation of powers. B, checks and balances. C, individual rights. D, limited government. Number 7, people are the source of government's power. So we have people, power. This is an example of which of the following principles? A, federalism. B, separation of powers. C, popular sovereignty. Not D. Number 8, the president shall have power by and with the advice and consent of the Senate to make treaties, provided 2/3 of senators present concur. This excerpt provides one example of which constitutional principle. So we have the president, which is executive branch, the Senate, which is legislative branch. So we have two of the branches working together. Is that F, federalism? G, checks and balances? J, individual rights? Not H. Number 9, the powers not delegated or given to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited or not allowed by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. It means power given to the states. Number 9, which principle of the U.S. government is most clearly reflected in the amendment above, dealing with states and national government? Is that F, checks and balances? G, federalism? H, separation of powers? It is not J. Number 10, Which governmental power had the most power under the Articles of Confederation? So we have which government had the most power under Articles of Confederation? Is it A, the federal government, B, the state government, C, executive branch, D, judicial branch? But I'm asking for what government, so it cannot be C or D. So choose between A and B. Who had the most power? Number 11. An explanation of federalism is the division of power in the United States between the A, two houses of Congress, not B, C, three branches of the government, or D, national and state governments. Number 12. What does the checks and balances principle provide for the federal government? Checks and balances, which one of these is that? A, a court system that ensures justice is given to those who break the law. So does checks and balances have to do with courts? B, three branches of government that monitor each other. Checks and balances, does that have to do with that? So we're dealing with checks and balances. C, the federal government officials are elected by the people. It is not D. Number 13. Popular sovereignty is best described by which of the following? Or popular sovereignty, remember the letter P. A, power is divided between national and state governments. B, each branch of government is able to check the power of the others. Or is it D, people hold the power in electing government representatives of their choosing? Which one of those three is popular sovereignty? Number 14, the Constitution as originally written. We have people elect. That is a key part right here. People elect or people vote. This diagram reflects which of these political concepts? People vote. Is that A, federalism, B, republicanism, C, checks and balances, D, individual rights? Last one, number 15. We have the legislative power to make laws, judicial power to apply the laws to specific situations, and the executive power to carry out the laws. Which principle of the U.S. Constitution does this diagram illustrate? We have 1, 2, 3 branches. Which one has to do with 3 branches? A, separation of powers. B, limits of government. C, popular sovereignty. It is not D.